Mate. What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
This is Justin and Erica from YouAreCreators, and we have a special guest, Miss Heather Waxman. Welcome, Heather.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi, Heather. We're great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Wonderful. Okay, so let me just let the listeners know who our guest is. Heather, a.k.a. Soul Sister. Heather is a passionate life coach, a writer, musician, and a speaker. Heather has created a strong social media community, and recently the Body Hack Daily named her Pinterest account one of the most inspirational health and wellness accounts to follow on Pinterest. Heather's mission is to help people feed the world in their own words and to know that true success comes when they first commit to a life of internal success. In 2011, Heather was hand-selected to become an ambassador for Fitfluential Incorporated, which is a nationwide network of health and fitness gurus sharing their passions through social media and brand campaigns. Heather was also featured on the featured body image and meditation expert for Tone It Up during their wildly, I'm having like issues here, sorry guys, wildly successful Love Your Body series. We are so overly excited for Heather to be here. She is a meditation guru. And actually, right now, she has a Go Love Yourself meditation challenge that she's doing with Bex. Right, Heather?
Yeah. You can hop right over to heatherwaxman.com or bexlife.com for all the details. But basically, this entire week, we're giving 4 meditations for self-love, and all 4 of them are so transformative. They transform your energy. They help you to radiate from the inside out, and so you can find them. And if this is airing later, you can just go straight to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/HeatherWaxman.
Cool. Heather's also going to be coming out. She's co-writing an ebook, which is due out this August. So make sure whenever you listen to the podcast, whenever you're done listening to the podcast, check out Heather's information. We're going to have it down in the details. And you can go follow her blog, follow her on Pinterest, and all the other cool social media sites so that you can keep up with when the book comes out. So we are, like I said, we're overly excited for Heather to be here. She's a meditation guru, and I think meditation is like one of those paramount things for our growth. And so I think it's going to be really important for you all to not only take the advice and information that Heather is going to be giving us or sharing with us, but actually use that and learn how to use that and put that into your life in a way that's going to be as beneficial for you as possible. I have a lot of questions with meditation, and I know some other people may too, because, you know, we meditate and we pray, but why is meditation so important? I think that's one of the big questions that we may have. And could you help us with that, Heather? Why would you say that meditation is so important for our growth?
Oh my goodness, where to begin? The first thing, when you said that, the first thing that comes to mind for me when you ask why meditation is so important is because it connects you to the truth of who you are. It connects you to your purpose, and it helps you in an instant. In 15 seconds, you can completely and totally reorganize your entire energy. In fact, let's do it now. We've got 15 seconds, right?
Okay.
So just go ahead and close your eyes, and we'll start by breathing in the yogic breath. So as we inhale, the stomach extends outward, and as you exhale, your stomach contracts inward. And as you breathe, you're breathing in and out through the nose. And we're going to breathe in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And open your eyes.
Cool.
Right? 15 seconds. So cool. In 15 seconds, you can completely reorganize your energy. And really that just helps you to tap into what I like to call your inner guide. which is that beautiful space of peace and wisdom inside of you that guides you and tells you where to go, tells you what to do, and it tells you what to say. And by connecting to your breath, you can really tap into that inner guidance system, and it's sort of like your inner GPS. And at a moment's notice, you can connect and instantly receive guidance on anything that you are looking for. And that's really what I really hope to help people to do, is really connect to their own inner voice through meditation.
Okay. Great. So would you say that there is a proper way to meditate?
I think the only thing that I would say is what we just did is I briefly went over it, but the way that we breathe is so important. When I was first introduced to meditation, I was breathing improperly. I had no idea. I was suffocating myself because we're used to breathing in and having our stomach also go in. So as you breathe in, your stomach kind of contracts in towards your lungs, and then as you exhale, your stomach extends outward. But what I didn't realize is that's totally backwards. And when we're meditating, it's really important for us to breathe in and out through the nose, because that more quickly stimulates our nervous system to quiet down, which then allows us to be calmer and more peaceful. So as we inhale, the stomach should extend out, and then as you exhale, the stomach should contract inward. And as you inhale and exhale, it should be done through the nose. And what you notice as you start to practice this is you naturally start to just become more calm, more rational, and more peaceful. And what does that mean? That means, when someone pisses you off, you don't send that email back right away. You take the 20 seconds to chill out and center yourself back in before you react. And it's those small moments that really add up over time to create such a beautiful, miraculous life for yourself.
Right. Wow. Well, I think just what you said just then about breathing, that was so important, because I know for me, when I first started yoga, that was different, because we're so used, just like you said, we're not used to extending our stomach or our abdomen out when we breathe in or when we inhale. So to learn to do that, I know some people probably have been meditating, I don't know if you would say meditating wrong or just not breathing right. So, I mean, thank you for that information. I know that helped us, and I'm sure that helped a lot of other listeners.
Yeah, no problem.
So what would you say some of the health benefits would be from meditation?
I mean, there's so many health benefits. There's been so many studies out there conducted. But, I mean, right off the bat, like I said, it really just totally calms down your nervous system. And what we know to be true is when the nervous system is highly stimulated and super duper active, we really have a really hard time processing and compartmentalizing things. And given this society, which is so high energy and so fast paced, it's only going to continue. And we need a way to combat that. And I honestly, now that I'm a meditation junkie, I don't know how people are getting through without having a tool in their back pocket for them to really calm that nervous system down. Because it is, I mean, we can talk about it here. The energy in the planet just keeps elevating higher and higher and higher, and we need to have these tools. So it really calms down the nervous system, like I said. Another thing, I remember reading a study. It was done in 2011, right after Harvard came out with their big, monumental study on meditation that really put mindfulness and meditation on the mainstream map. It was a group of actually Kundalini yogis who were studied, and it showed that after 21 days, I remember this very clearly, 97% reported recovery from depression. 97%! Which I remember when I heard that statistic, it blew my lid, because I realized so clearly that this was something I had to share with other people, specifically a younger generation, who may not know what this is, who may think it's woo-woo, who may think it's kind of crazy and weird, and try to break it down and make it really relatable. Because there are so many, youth and adults, but there's so many people who are depressed. And time and time again, I've seen with my clients, through a dedicated meditation practice that it totally decreases their rates of depression. It's funny, my first client was actually one of my good friends, and I coached her for free, and she was on antidepressant medications, and she was awesome in 2 months just through working with me and through creating a meditation practice of her own. So as you can see, I'm very passionate about that statistic.
That's great. Yeah.
But,
yeah, I think that's great. That's awesome. That is awesome. 97%.
97%.
Wow. That's awesome. So now my next question would be, I know if anyone looks up meditation or meditate, one of the words that's going to appear in the definition is mantra or mantra. Am I even pronouncing it right? Can you tell us what mantras are and what benefits they have?
Sure, yeah. Mantras are sort of a single-pointed focus. So mantras can be really helpful because they help you to bring an intention to your meditation so that you're not just sitting there. I think it's when we're new to meditation, or if you're recovering perfectionist like me, I personally find it very helpful to go into a meditation with an intention, to really cultivate a certain energy from it, to really cultivate a certain result. So, for example, I suffered from anorexia nervosa for 6 years, and when I really started to embark on my recovery, my main goal was recovery from addiction. And so a Kundalini meditation for healing addiction really served me very well. And there are certain mantras that you say in that meditation that really served me. So I think it's really important. The mantra itself really helps you to tap into what you're meditating on. So for example, in Soul Sessions, my meditation CD that I recently released, we have a beautiful forgiveness meditation on there. And the mantra that we use is, I forgive you, I release you, I forgive you, I love you. And we repeat that over and over again for, however long we're going, 2 or 3 minutes. And that helps the meditator to really tap into the forgiveness process, to create a visual around the person that they're trying to forgive, whether it's themselves or someone else, and using that mantra to guide them. So the mantra sort of does 2 things. It really focuses your mind, and it also helps to stimulate your brain to really create that visual image, which all of us are visual learners, and we know that having that visual is so important. And so mantras are just that way for you to bring that intention into the meditation and really heighten it.
Okay. So would you say that there is a correlation between praying and meditating?
Good question. I love this one. So I study and teach a metaphysical text called A Course in Miracles, and the Course says that prayer is a time to ask and meditation is a time to listen. And I've always loved that line, and I've always thought it to be really true, and it resonates with me for sure. Meditation really is a time for us to tune in, and to listen to the brilliance and the plethora of information that is always trying to make its way through us. It really is that time for you to clear your mind and allow that beautiful information to flow through. Whether you call it universe or God or spirit or higher power or source, whatever works for you, it doesn't matter. It really is just about opening yourself up to receive that guidance. And prayer is, to me, it's constant contact with my inner guide. It's constant contact with spirit. And prayer isn't just a time for me to ask, but it's also a time for me to just have soul chat with the universe, to have soul chat with my inner guide, because I think that it's really easy for us to get hooked into the idea of, meditating in the morning and then kind of going through our day and then kind of feeling crappy and then being like, oh, well, that shit don't work,
Right.
But prayer is the thing that really helps you to reconnect. Prayer is that way that you reconnect with your inner guide. And so in those moments where you feel your energy dip, or in those moments where you're feeling really triggered and you really want to go back to this old behavior pattern that you know is not serving you, prayer is an awesome tool for you to simply say, hey, I know there's a better way. Can you help me out here? And if you sit and you close your eyes and you listen, there's always something that will flow through you. Always, always.
Right. That's great. That is great. Okay. So how can we find our mission or purpose in life?
Man, oh man, this is a big one. Well, the first thing I'll say is I cannot tell you specifically what your soul's purpose is. I think that this is a really big hot button topic in the spiritual world, and I am never ever going to claim to know someone's purpose. My job is to be your wings until you can fly on your own. My job is to be your guide, and so I will guide you using the tools that I know that have worked for me, that and my clients that can really connect to that deep space where you can find your purpose. So I'll give you a few things. So first of all, we already talked about meditation. Meditation will help you find your purpose because, like I said, it really helps you connect to that space inside of you that knows where to go, what to do, and what to say, your inner guide. And it is always there. It's always talking to you. Always, always. The way that we block our inner guide's voice is by listening to our opposite voice, which is our ego. So there are two voices. You have your inner guide, which is that really strong but gentle, wise, loving voice. It speaks very softly but very, very firmly. And then you have that voice of the ego, which is that fear voice, that voice that says you're not enough, or you can't be an artist, or you're not going to make enough money, you can't have that job, or you're not qualified, you don't have the credentials, or whatever it is. And so the first thing that I would say is really connecting yourself through meditation every day is going to help you, because you're going to start to get closer to not so much drowning out the voice of the ego. That's not really our job, right? Our job is to allow ourselves to believe more in the voice of our inner guide and less in the voice of our ego. And meditation is the perfect way to access that. So we're right on the money with that. Now, there's three other tips that I have. So this one might seem kind of funky, but bear with me. So your purpose is all about you connecting to who you are authentically. Now, I know the word authenticity is sort of used all over the place. So break it down. First thing, get honest with yourself, people. When are you being fake? Where in your life are you being fake? This is something that I had to really work out with myself, and my journal is kind of my BFF for this one. Is look at the areas, and look at all of the relationships in your life, the relationship with your partner, the relationship with your friends, the relationship with your parents, the relationship with your relatives, the relationship to your current career, the relationship to your finances, and ask yourself, where am I being fake? Where am I being inauthentic? And the reason I propose that question to you is because if you're being fake and if you're being inauthentic, then you're acting oppositely of the way that you would act when you pursue your life's purpose, because your life's purpose is really rooted in authenticity. And so it's really important to kind of take note of where you're being fake in your life, so then you can change it. Because a lot of times we're so afraid to pursue our purpose, and we mask that fear by trying to be someone we think that we should be, and that shows up in our relationships, which manifests as being fake. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
It does.
Good. So that's really, really important. And be super gentle and compassionate with yourself, because if you would, Oprah says this, if you would have known better, you would have done better. You know?
She does say,
So be honest with yourself and really get honest there. The second thing is what comes naturally to you. What things did you do as a child that totally lit you up, that you could have done all day without stopping? Like, I remember I would wake up, God bless my mother, I would wake up at 5 a.m. and I would, and I'd be in my little tutu, and I'd go right over to her bed and tap her on the shoulder and say, Mommy, will you film me today? And what she would do is she would get the camcorder, and I would put on a big production of Beauty and the Beast, and I'd be singing and acting and playing, right? And she was great. She nurtured that. And so going back to that, I sang and I spoke. I loved being in front of the camera. Another thing I did is I was literally that girl who had a wagon of books, like books upon books upon books, and this red wagon, and I would take it around the neighborhood for walks. And so I loved books. I loved to read, and I loved to write, even though I didn't know what I was writing at age 3. I couldn't, like, I needed a crayon in my hand. So think back to when you were a kid and connect the dots, because that really gives you a lot of information. So I know that's anything else could be a little bit overwhelming. We'll start there. But if you really take those 3 steps, meditate, notice where you're not being authentic in your life, and really ask yourself, why am I afraid to speak my truth here? What am I afraid of? And if you need a guide, then, you can reach out to me. I do personal coaching, or find someone, a mentor, that will really help guide you. And then the third thing is what comes naturally to you. What things did you do as a kid? And start to really infuse more of that childlike essence into your life now, using all of those passions that you've had since you were a kid, because they're there.
Okay, great. So now, earlier, just a little while ago, you spoke about the 2 voices, and one of those voices was the ego. So my next question would be, how can we bounce back from past failures? You said that the ego is kind of like the devil that's on our our shoulder. So the ego plays, I know, a very big part in, just reminding us of the past failure. So how would you say we could bounce back from that?
That's a really good question. I don't think there's anything worse than repeating a negative behavior again. It's like, it sucks when you do it, but then it's like, oh my God, I did that again. It's just, that feeling. So I totally sympathize with that. I think that the important thing is, oftentimes when we hear fear, I think we automatically go like we just become afraid instantly. And, what we resist persists. And I think it's really important to notice when you're in your ego, but, the Course says don't judge your ego with your ego. You don't want to bring more fear into the equation, because then you just amplify the fear. And so you really want to take that darkness and bring it to the light. You want to bring it to the light. And what does that mean? It means looking at fear as an opportunity instead of an obstacle. So what I do with my clients, and the work that I do, and the writing that I do, and in my life, in my personal life, what I do with my fears is I try to see them as opportunities for growth. So, for example, like when my parents got divorced, it was one of the most tragic things that had ever happened to me. Personally, it just really, really tore me apart. That was sort of my rock bottom that really made me hit my knees and have my spiritual surrender moment, and it really jump-started me into my purpose, so I'm really grateful for it. And I used my parents' divorce as an opportunity for growth. I used that immense fear that I felt of feeling like my family was totally torn apart, and I said, what is the lesson here? There's a beautiful lesson from A Course in Miracles that says, all things are lessons Spirit would have me learn. It's just, all things are lessons Spirit would have me learn. And every time I hear that, or every time I read that or say that, I'm instantly reminded that fear is that opportunity for growth. So meet fear with acceptance instead of resistance. Because here's probably if you listen to nothing else in this podcast, listen to this. Because when you choose to accept yourself, when you choose to accept your situation, that's when your healing begins. You can't self-hate yourself into self-acceptance. It doesn't work. you have to be willing to accept the situation, and you have to be willing to accept yourself. And that starts with accepting what you have. Accepting doesn't mean that you have to tolerate it forever. It just means that you're not denying what's happened and you're ready to make a change. And so I think with fear, if you're choosing to see that as an opportunity for growth, as a lesson, a divine lesson that has been given to you to help you grow, not happening to you to screw you over, that in and of itself is so powerful, because you have clarity and you have a willingness to see things differently. And as the Course talks about, all you need is that slight willingness. And that willingness is everything, because in that willingness you give Spirit the green light. And then Spirit will give you situations. Spirit will give you people. Spirit will give you relationships and whatever you need to really heal that fear and to propel you forward. Does that make sense?
It does. It makes a lot of sense. I think everything that you've said has been just phenomenal information. And I think personally that meditating is so very important. I really do. So Justin and I have spoke about this before with past guests, about the difference or even the similarities between religiousness and spirituality. And I think what happens is so many people who are religious versus being spiritual get caught up in, when they don't hear certain words being said, they say, oh, well, this doesn't relate to me, so I can't use this I can't put this into my daily life. But meditation is so important. Everything you said is so important. So I think that it's really important for the listeners to understand that if you are more religious than spiritual, then meditation can be combined with your prayer, just like you said before. Praying is asking and meditating is listening, right? Right. So this is very important that our listeners understand that this is useful for everyone. This can be useful for everyone. When you pray and you're praying to God, you can still meditate and actually, just clear your mind. And if you're listening for an answer, or if you're listening to see what it is that you should do next, or whatever it may be, that can be a part of your meditation. Just like you said, regardless on, what you're praying about, regardless on what path you're going down in life at the time, it's very important to, just like you said, Heather, to be able to understand who you are internally. Because I think so many times people are so caught up with being who they think people want them to be, and then we forget about who our true essence is. So, journaling is just, I think is awesome. I really do. But meditating is so important. And everything that you said has just been, I think that has been great information. But I just want everyone to be able to take this information and utilize it.
I completely agree. Yeah, we can take all labels out and just breathe, people. Just breathe, just breathe, because your breath, without breath, you die. You got to breathe. Right. You have to connect back inward. I completely agree. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Heather. This information has been great, and I know everyone they're gonna run over to your blog now, because you're just full of information. So can you tell us what you have coming up next? Maybe give us a little more information about the campaign that you're doing with Bex, and maybe more information about that book that you're co-writing that's due out in August.
Yeah, sure. Well, if you are new to meditation or you want to amp up your meditation practice, I recently released Soul Sessions, which is a meditation CD that really is your own personal roadmap to inner peace. It's just beautiful. And so if that resonates with you, you can head over to heatherwaxman.com, and it's all there. All the information's there for you. And my dear friend Rebecca Baruchi and I of Bex Life have collaborated to bring you, like I said, 4 meditations for self-love. So those are all free, and you can head to my YouTube channel for those. It's really kind of piggybacking off of what you were just talking about, which is really making meditation fun and accessible, and taking all the woo-woo stuff out of it and just making it a really beautiful environment for people to connect with themselves. So that's fantastic. And I'm so excited about the ebook that my friend Casey Arena of PowerCakes.net and I are co-writing together. We've both had really interesting paths with recovery from eating disorders, and we've both learned a lot along the way. Casey's a certified personal trainer, and just kind of we're bringing health and nutrition and mindfulness all together, and giving young women and men a 30-day guidebook to creating lasting peace with their bodies. And I cannot wait for everyone to have that in their hands. August, we're slated to release it in August, and it's going to be called Body Peace. And this is probably the number one thing that I get asked by my beautiful readers, and same thing with Casey's readers. And so we're just so excited to give it to them, to be able to say, here you go, here's a roadmap, run with it, go fall in love with yourself.
Wonderful. That sounds great. Exciting stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
Heather, thank you so much for being on You Are Creators.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, guys. You're so awesome. Really continue doing the beautiful work that you're doing.
This is Justin and Erica from You Are Creators, and we support your dreams.